Yes. Nice. Maggie, you're a runner.
I am a runner, formerly a runner, getting back into it.
Right, because you had a baby recently, is that right?
Yes, 4 months ago, had a baby.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's pretty epic. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
I had two, and my partner was trying to get back into running, and I understand the challenges of getting back into that after childbirth. Not directly, but
Sorry, yeah.
You
Limited
hear about
understanding.
them. You
I've
have
heard about them.
empathy.
I've heard about them. I have empathy
You
for
see
it.
it firsthand. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Totally. So you're the founder of SheFi, which is a program and community focused on onboarding women into Web3. So I'm interested if you could talk about the motivation to start SheFi and why you felt so called to onboard more women into crypto, and both from the perspective of like why it was so important for women, but I'm also interested in why you felt it was important for the industry.
Yeah, great question. So I've been in crypto since 2017. So I lived through like the ICO bubble and my first crash in 2018. And it was out of that quiet in 2019, we saw decentralized finance starting to happen. December 2018, I met Stani when he was doing ETH Lend. We saw Compound come online, like the beginnings of Uniswap. And I was talking to a coworker at Consensus at the time, and he mentioned that people were earning 20% interest on their tokens by putting them in Compound. And so I was like, oh shit, women are getting left behind again. Like everyone on stage talking about DeFi, talking about more inclusive and accessible finance, like very well intentioned, but they all happen to be people who joined crypto from finance or tech. And so they already were doing super well, and they were in crypto in 2017. So I just saw that we would be recreating the same financial inequalities that we have in traditional finance if we didn't start bringing women into decentralized finance. And decentralized finance is amazing, as we all know, because anyone anywhere in the world can get access to that 20% interest on their tokens, right? So for the first time, you don't have to be in the United States to get access to certain financial products. So that was my motivation. I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to get my girlfriends, doing this, and I have to be doing it too. But instead of just doing it on my own, I should share it with others. And the funny thing about running, as we were just talking about, is I was actually meditating on how to get more women playing with crypto, right? Like, how do we get people taking more risks? And was just thinking about the word decentralized finance and different female words. And all of a sudden I was like, DeFi, SheFi. And I was like, that's a pretty good name. So running is very near and dear to my heart because it's literally where I do my best thinking. So when I thought of that, I was actually at home at my parents' house, and they were both like, we don't know anything about crypto, but that's an amazing name. And it wasn't trademarked. So we were like, okay, let's get to it. And the concept was always, teach people what these things are, because I wanted more women to not only be using, but also building in this space or getting jobs at these early DeFi protocols. But also then we put our tokens in, these different protocols together. We take out loans on MakerDAO back when you could do that, when it wasn't, like a floor of $2,000 or something. We would be putting our tokens into Aave, our Compound. We'd be swapping on Uniswap. Even the early insurance protocol, I can't remember the name, but that's kind of what I started working towards, and just teaching first women at Consensus. And when they were like, hey, this is pretty good, I started bringing it more publicly to other people.
All right, so I think you have an 8-week career launch program. You have summits, community, create a bunch of content. Can you paint us a holistic picture of what SheFi is today?
Yeah, so exactly what SheFi is today is, I like to think of it as a really robust onboarding to Web3. So offering different learning modalities for different types of learners. So we have our 8-week cohort program that goes over almost every use case. It's honestly not enough time. I know it feels like a long cohort, but it's truly not enough. So, blockchains, wallets, layer 2s, Web3 social, non-fungible tokens, staking, swapping, lending, stable coins, DAOs, and governance, and a little bit of AI. So really comprehensive, but we have a live course, recordings, we have podcasts, reading materials, and we have quests, which are probably the next most important part. So not only do you come to class and you learn about swapping, but we partnered with Matcha this cohort. So the quest was to swap on Matcha on the mini app, on the base app, because we're also partnered with the base app. So each week you learn a module, you do a quest, and then you have additional learning materials. And I built a GPT of all my content. So I'm like, if I can't answer the question, our AI overlords can definitely answer the question, the SheFi study buddy. So that's the cohort. And then out of that came people join for these 8 weeks. And we all know how hard it is to like keep community vibes alive, just like online, just like in Discord, or we use a platform called Mighty Networks now. But we were like, okay, we need to, people come up to me and like, I took the course, like I want more. So we're like, okay, how do we get the community coming back together? And so we're like, let's throw our hand at events. So we host SheFi summits now. The turnout's always been 400 to 600 people, all women, non-binary folks on stage, but focusing on their expertise. So there's many places for talking about being a woman in Web3 specifically, but that's not one of them, because SheFi is really about empowerment through education, right? So getting investors, founders, marketers, DevRels on stage and teaching us something new. So that's been a lot of fun because I think I've put like over 100 different individual women on stage through these summits, and the vibes are really good and it's always jam-packed. So we have cohorts, summits. We do have a community platform on Mighty Networks, and something fun we're starting now is having global chapter leads. So we have chapter leads everywhere someone wants to raise their hand and say they want to gather for SheFi. And so we just had our first like chapter lead led event in Berlin, which also had like 200 to 300 people at it. So we're going to try to decentralize that community part. So that's like our next big focus.
Yes, you guys have run 14 cohorts to date. I'm sure when you started, you were kind of naive about what that would take. So curious what have been kind of your biggest learnings in maybe both community building and program design over the last, 5 years of doing this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know you like the fact that even on my 14th time, I'm like, I could, if I switched these two sections, I think staking would have been like that much more clearer. But, then it like things get posted and I go on and teach a new cohort. But there's like always things to improve. I think the biggest learning is like trying to make it fun, right? So we start each class with affirmations or a visualization exercise or a reminder that like you can do it, or meditation. And I try to like bring just like more vibes into the class. We have like questions after each section, which aren't to like trick you, but like it's all about reinforcement learning, right? So, they see it again, and then it's their chance to be like, okay, did I internalize it? Those two things were not components when I started it. Also, like, just it's amazing how much easier it is to do quests now that the tech actually works. Like, of course, the early DeFi stuff works, but it would be harder to do some of these other activities if, no offense, Web3, the tech didn't work. So I think the quests are really important because they really reinforce the learning. But community building, yeah, I think it's sometimes when I try to say what I do, it's like I don't really have the best answer because it's so innate to me. I think I've learned as a founder that I need to be as involved in the community as I would expect a community manager to be, right? And I've even gotten that feedback, like, Maggie, you're too involved. And I'm like, no, I think if you're building like if that's what you're building, like at least in the beginning innings of the life of the product or the course or the community, you have to go there and be in the chats, comment the tweets, make people feel seen, like let people know you're as involved in their success as they are. So I think that's like probably what I'd say would be my biggest takeaway. And now we do want to decentralize it and like highlight other people and it not be like just Maggie Love. But I think when people are building community, it's not just incentives. It's not just, I guess if we're talking about crypto, it's not just incentives, but it's actually like, you see the founders out there who are commenting their community's posts or who are still showing up at conferences 7 years later. And I think it makes a difference. So I think that's my biggest learning is if you want to build community, you have to build community. You can't outsource it to somebody else. You can't hope that somebody cares about building community as much as you. That's like the biggest learning, I think. And then trying to make the whole educational piece fun with like vibes and affirmations and whatnot.
Vibes and affirmations and whatnot. That's the tweet right there.
That's the tweet.
I know that we've had a number of conversations over the years about sort of the business of SheFi, like big mission, having a ton of impact. But if you're unable to continue to operate and to grow, then that's kind of a big issue. So I'm curious how you're thinking around the sustainability and the business model behind SheFi has evolved.
Launching a token. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know you're waiting for it. No, I'm kidding. It's funny though, because it's so easy now. So every time I talk about, I'm going off path. I apologize. Every time I teach people now how easy it is to make the SheFi token in class, they're like, why haven't you made the SheFi token? I'm like, because I don't want to do liquidity management. But if anybody wants to market make for me, you know where to find me. That would be my biggest challenge. No. So yeah, right now, how it looks is we do kind of like 2 models. The main way that we, bring in financing is going to protocols and partnering with them, right? You have a protocol that's maybe doesn't have that many users or doesn't have that much brand awareness, or you're looking for a new type of user, right? Someone who might have longevity on your protocol, your application. And so we will sell packages, education packages. So they'll get a course, a quest, social media, explainers, newsletter takeover, like full offering of our distribution. And so that's like one way we partner. And then kind of all those sponsorships allow us to offer the course for free to those who can't afford it. We do charge for the course $7.99 and the community membership, which is affordable if you're in the course world, right? But you do not have to pay it. No one's making you pay it. If you would like a scholarship, we just ask that you like post about your learning experience in return for that scholarship. And we make it very clear that these are our partners who make this education possible. So right now that is the main business model. And then for events, of course, it's similar. We sell sponsorships and those have different packages. And once again, that's like great awareness distribution. And at our events, we also try to get sponsors to do quests. But once again, it's like, is the tech ready? So I really want people to be like touching Web3, using Web3, like doing it. But yeah, so that's how we are today. And until I haven't talked to Clanker, I haven't been on Farcaster. I've dabbled obviously in a lot of meme
Pump
coins.
is obviously where you should launch your token, Maggie.
Yeah, Farcaster.
That's very girl. Pump is very girl coded. If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it's very. I was thinking about that. Pump is very girl coded.
She pump. No.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No.
But yeah, that's how we do it today. And it's been working for us. But we do want to offer more like community-based products as well. But that's like a 2026 thing.
Cool. I'm curious what you're most proud of that has happened as a result of SheFi.
Oh, so many women getting jobs or just like going, to events and like speaking on stage and partnering with me, like coming back and being like, great, I have budget now. Like, let's do something together because SheFi was so pivotal in me getting my job at this like layer 2 or this giant exchange or like Lido, it's like pretty crazy. So people come in, they hear about these products and then they meet maybe members who are working on there. They start contributing to DAOs and like somehow end up at the company or they just like do the traditional interview process. But that is like what I want. It's amazing that so many people come in and take the course. I think now we're up to like our distribution between like newsletter and socials and all that is like up to, 50,000 or something like that, people that we touch. And like, of course, that's cool for us, but it was so clear at Dev Connect Istanbul, like SheFi members were at the Ethereum Foundation, we're at Optimism, we're running events, hosting events. Like they were everywhere outside of SheFi Summit. And I was like, this is so cool. It's like cool to see everybody in my funnel or whatever, like my little world, but it's much cooler to see everybody like actually doing what I hoped, which was like impacting the ecosystem and, doing that. That's all I have to say, impacting the ecosystem.
I love it. You start to see the compounding benefits of that. And I think I've been on a bit of a kick recently just around, I don't know, my disdain for those who are trying to preach that, that you have two years to make it before the AI takes over, or, this is the last cycle, etc. And I feel like they are ignorant of the value of compounding, and compounding isn't just on the capital markets. It's in relationships and connections and the softer stuff that makes us human and is incredibly valuable and probably only going to become more valuable moving forward. All right. Before we let you go, where are people? Can people go take this course right now? When's the next cohort?
The next cohort, I believe, will be October 21st. So we are about to finish up this cohort. We will take a little break. We will start late October, finish before the new year. And then you can find us at Token 2049 if you're going to be out in Singapore, and at Dev Connect in Argentina. So those will be 2 SheFi summits, Token, Dev Connect, a cohort in October. And then we'll just do it all over again next year. Do it all. Start 3 cohorts a year, 2 to 3 major events, and then we'll decentralize a lot of our events. And yeah, that's where you can always find us. And on Twitter, if you hang out online, you can find us there too.
Amazing. Well, it's great to catch up, Maggie, and best of luck in getting back into running. I just see your videos come across my timeline, and I'm like, fuck yeah, Maggie.
Thank you. That's,
You don't say that. You don't.
That is what I hope. What I hope my videos do: inspire positivity.
Jess doesn't say that to me when I'm like, I just came back from a great run. He's like, all right, whatever.
He's like, cool.
Yeah, I like, what barriers are you overcoming, Josh? I mean, come on.
Fair.
All right, thanks,
He's
Maggie.
got 2 kids. He's a busy
yeah,
person.
exactly.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much, all. Have a great one.
Cheers.
See you, Maggie.
Bye.